Welcome, everybody, to your favorite podcast, the number one podcast in Toronto. It's the Pals Podcast. Crowd goes wild. I'm your co-host, George Boutsalis, and for like the 20th time in a row, I am doing the intro alone because Ricky is terrible at managing this thing, so he's got me taking up all the brunt work, you know? He's putting me to work like, I got to do all this work. He just shows up, records, leaves, that's it. He gets all the celebrity and does another work. Guys, give him some shit. Let him know. Like, what the hell, Rick? You leave me out here alone? I see how it is, man. I won't forget it. Anyways, guys, I'm your co-host, George Boutsalis. And you can find me on social medias at Boutsalis on Instagram, at Cast Co-founder on TikTok, and at George on Cast. Yes, 3 different usernames because I make it difficult for everybody. But each one has its own story and its own persona. So go check it out. Follow me on socials. Hit me up on Cast, which I will explain what Cast is for those who don't know. But let's go into this episode because this was a terrific one. We had United Boxing Club on the podcast. Now, United Boxing Club is comprised of... we had 2 guys from United Boxing Club on. Geordan Thomas, the founder of United Boxing Club. That's Jordan with a Geordan. Very unique and almost spelled like George, which is crazy. But he's at Jordan Thomas on Instagram. He's the founder of United Boxing Club, and the story of how he started it and kind of how the idea came about and how he got it open and these kind of like ways he finessed his way into getting the gym open is pretty wild and a really remarkable story. They went from obviously being, he had ambitions of opening a gym to where they are today. He never would have fathomed it, and it's pretty remarkable to see how far they've come in such a short time. So you can follow them at United Boxing Club on socials. Again, local Toronto business. Go support them, guys. They're doing some great things, kind of doing safe workouts during the pandemic and kind of fighting to keep open. But I'm not going to tell you any more of the story. You can check it out. We also had Bryan Chang on, who is a trainer at United Boxing Club and a friend of Jordan. So we had them both on, 2 different perspectives, 2 different stories, 2 different come-ups. It was really cool. Bryan's story is also very cool and how he got into it and how he hustled his way in and how he's trying to get ready for a fight now. So Jordan, Bryan, thank you guys so much for coming on. It was terrific. You can follow Bryan on social at Bryan Chang, but it's spelled BRYCHNG. Give them both a follow, guys, and let them know the pal sent you. Go get a workout in with them. I love it. Boxing, I love everything about boxing, and I love what they're doing. Teaching people from the ground up, the fundamentals and the education, kind of the culture behind boxing, not just putting people into a ring to throw hands at each other and get hurt. They're doing terrific things. Hit them up and tell them the pal sent you. You got a good workout, and I'm confident of that, and we'll be in there soon. Thanks, boys. Have a good one. Let's give a shout-out to our sponsors. First and foremost, Cottage Springs. Y'all know we love Cottage Springs. Anything with vodka and soda is good by us, but Cottage Springs is taking it to another level. Cottage Springs is a Canadian-based vodka beverage company. All beverages are gluten and sugar-free and have 100 calories. They have Cottage Springs Vodka Water, which is the first vodka water cooler in Canada. Again, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, 100% Canadian. Comes in 2 flavors, raspberry, lime, strawberry, kiwi. And then they also have the Cottage Springs Mixed 8-pack, which is their vodka soda pack. It comes with Ontario Peach Vodka Soda, Watermelon Vodka Soda, Lemon Lime Vodka Soda, and the exclusive Wild Cherry Vodka Soda. Again, 100 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, and 100% Canadian. I don't know what I like most about that. The Canadian, the sugar-free, the gluten-free, or the fact that they have such a big variety of flavors. I can't say enough good things. If you haven't tried the Cottage Springs yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, but head to the LCBO and grab a pack today. Perfect for the cottage, hanging by the parks, going out with friends, sitting in your condo, working, happy hour. Good for everything. And yeah, it's just an amazing brand. So go check them out now. You can follow them on social at Cottage Springs. And we also want to give a shout out to our second sponsor, Cast. Y'all should know what Cast is by now, but if you don't, are you been sleeping under a rock? Anyways, Cast is a new social voting platform that's on a mission to break down barriers to get more people sharing their honest opinions online. We're on a mission to turn bystanders into participants in every conversation because everyone's opinion matters. We want everybody getting into the discussion and breaking down all the barriers that make people stop and second guess their ability to speak online. Everyone's opinion should count. we're just trying to improve the conversation, and we're also showing the real results. So whatever you want to find out more about, you can ask anything, you can share your opinion, you can see real results. We want you to be you, and we want us to be transparent and honest with what the world really thinks. So get on Cast today, www.joincast.co/download on the App Store and Play Store. Cast. It is a white icon with a purple C in it, and it's a social voting app. Get on today. Follow myself at George. Ricky is at Ricky, and our other co-founder Dave is at DB. Hit us up. Drop a comment, and without further ado, let's frickin' go, people.
Crush like 4 of these. Man, I remember last time I drank on a weekday. Like so excited. It's like Brazil game's on tonight. I'm ready to rock and roll.
You won yesterday. You won. You know,
Italy won yesterday.
Yeah.
Man, we're
grooving. Streak, you know.
So yeah, I got the Brazil.
That's why I came here for your good luck. You know, I need that. I'm losing my keys. I lost my wallet like a couple days ago. I'm like, yo, I need some fucking blessings right now.
The good vibes are in this.
At least France won, so we're good.
Hey, do you know what? I was actually talking with a good buddy of mine. He says France is the favorite this year.
I mean,
he says they have the best 11, the best starting 11, and the best secondary 11 too.
100%, bro. I mean, like they're on a good roll. They're on a good start. They're on a clean streak. So I think
everyone keeps saying. Well, they won the World Cup last World Cup? No.
They
when was the last World Cup? That was
2018.
Yeah, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, like
they won.
Was
now they're tied with Italy for the second most
last
amount
one.
of
France
cups.
won. Yeah, for sure. It was man. Their team is solid. I mean, I feel bad for Benzema. Kind of. He's kind of.
Kind of old now, no?
Kind of old, but like finally he's coming back, and then like he get injured.
That's a tough balance.
You know, he's trying to redeem himself with everybody.
Have you guys been watching any of the games?
No. Just watch the France game.
No, Brad's like, no.
No, honestly, no, I haven't.
That's fair.
But like I see, it's all my Instagram. That's all it is. Euro Cup. I love it. Everybody got their flags out. Everybody got the flags on the cars and everything. I love the culture. I love everything. I'm not the biggest soccer fan. Let's just say it like that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Like, we live in a city and country that's like very multicultural. But like, think about this. Like, you see every different flag in the city. Like, everyone representing their country. Imagine being in a country like France, where like every car is just representing France. Well, for the most part, you would think like 90%. Never thought about that, because every time we have Euro World Cup, like you have Danforth is Greeks, Little Italy, Little Portugal, whatever. Like everyone's supporting a different team.
I mean, no matter what, you know that if you're in Toronto, there's a party going on.
100%.
Every block, every corner, every block.
No matter what, there's a mass. It's not you just like you go to that like English bar in the middle. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's the France team, there's the Italian corner. You know what I mean? Like you're guaranteed a party, and a solid one. If you're
no matter who wins, there's a party somewhere.
There's a party, right?
100%.
That's the best
I actually, I just remember this when I was with our buddy Vishal. Shout out to Vishal. He met me in Prague. I was traveling once, and he met me during like I think the Champions League final, and it was in Prague, and like Liverpool was playing some English team, and we went to this bar, this like English pub, and I've never been around like real English fans that watching soccer, like real like hooligans. These guys were lined up at like the game was like 3 maybe at like 6 in the morning or something, down the street like crazy, and then getting in the bar. I've never seen people drink so much in my life and be able to talk properly. These guys are like crushing pints like fast. big like fast, like ordering like 6 in a row and crush. I'm like, dude, like how can you speak English right now? I'd be like asleep on the floor.
Have I ever told a story about when I went to Manchester with John?
Maybe.
So I went to Europe in I don't know, let's say 2013, my first like real Euro trip. Me and my brother went, and we said we were in England. We wanted to go to Manchester United and see a Manchester United game.
Amazing.
Yeah, so the vibe's great. We took a train there. We went just for this one thing. We were in and out in like 36 hours. So we get to our hostel. They're like, okay, you got to go to this place to buy tickets. We had tickets in like the fucking nosebleeds of the nosebleeds. Yeah. So we're like, okay, which bar should we go to? They're like, oh, you got to go to like whatever, Trapper's Bar or something. Like one of the main bars. We're like, sick. What time do we need to go? Game's at 3 o'clock start. Like, you got to get there at 7 o'clock or else you're not getting a seat. I'm like, what do I do there for 7 hours? I love day drinking. I'm all about the day drinking. But 7 a.m. Like, I haven't had breakfast yet. Like, what the fuck?
7 a.m. That's crazy.
So me and my brother, we have our tickets.
Early.
We take the train down. We get to this bar at maybe like 8 a.m. 8 a.m. I'm not even kidding you. Lined up.
Wow.
So we get in a line. We wait. It took us about 20 minutes to get in. We get in, and the whole bar is just like vibing, buzzing. Like, people are on top of the bar dancing at 8 a.m. maybe it's 8:30 at this point. And we're like, what the fuck? I'm like,
8:30.
I need breakfast. Like, I need to eat. So
Half
here
an
I am.
hour makes a difference. Yeah.
Well,
If
here
it's
I am.
8:30.
Here I am, like ordering my like fucking bacon and eggs and pancakes, and there's a dude like on the table beside me, like dancing, cheering, shouting. I'm like,
Yeah, the
man,
chants
what
and-
the fuck?
Different animals.
And the
over
best
there.
part is like you don't like sometimes like real sports in Toronto, like 5 minutes before the game, that's when people clear out.
Yeah.
No, an hour before, people are clearing out because they need to march around the stadium like 3 times before they can actually go in.
Wow.
Just nuts, mayhem.
It's
Crazy.
amazing.
I'll
What an
never forget
experience,
that.
though.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I
experience.
need to experience something like that, man. I have not traveled to Europe just yet. My
You gotta-
plan was to go to Europe. We were going to go to Italy, Croatia, and then finish off in Greece.
My
Go
man.
for like 4 weeks, you know?
Literally speaking, like all three of us.
2019, me, my boy Ome, Greco, Regis, like all my boys. We were going to do a full boys trip, 4 weeks, just gone. And then COVID.
Oh fuck.
COVID. Got you.
So
Got you
saving up soon, hopefully, right?
If
We
you
must
go
have saved
to,
a couple bucks. Save
yeah,
a couple bucks.
exactly.
4 weeks in Europe.
It's a lot. No, it's a lot.
Oh,
Of money.
we know.
Yeah.
If you go to Greece ever, let me know. I'll
For
take
sure,
you. I'll set you up.
100%,
It's my
100%.
peoples. I'll set you up.
Amazing.
I know some people out there.
Okay,
Take care of you.
that's all. I
I'm
wanna
supposed to
hear.
be going. Actually, I'm going in like a month, probably.
Yeah?
Yeah, like end of July. I'm going for like a
Nice.
couple weeks. I mean, everything goes well and everything opens up. Yeah, I'm going, but it's another world. Croatia
family
is
there?
there. Pardon me.
You have
Yeah,
family?
a little bit. Not like I have like distant cousins. Most of my family's here now. My dad was born there. He moved here when he was 17.
Nice.
My mom's Greek as well, but born here. So when I go back, the good part is like I'm sure Ricky, Danielle, you guys probably know this. Maybe if you guys like have been back home to see family, you have to go see everybody when you go back home, whatever.
Yeah.
That's like no disrespect to any of my family. Like when you're on vacation, it's like how do you say no to people, right? The good thing is I don't have that much immediate family there. And my parents also from a young age were like, yeah, like we're not gonna see everybody. We can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
If they want to come see us, come see us.
Yeah, yeah.
The
We're
best
gonna
part
run
is
vacation.
stop by and say hi.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a 6-course meal. It's like that's not
Yeah, for
stopping by to
$5.
say hi, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
now
yeah,
we're stuck here for a day. Actually, we got lucky. George came to my. I've been to George's hometown, Nyata, center of the universe.
The
apparently.
best place in the world.
So when we went about 3 years ago, we were in Europe. Me, George, and George's cousin George.
That sounded really funny. Me, George, and George's cousin George.
So we went to my my mom's family in Italy. It's just outside of Rome, about 40 minutes. So they came, they picked us up. We did a dinner there. By the end of this dinner, my George's cousin George was speaking speaking Italian at the dinner table. He's like, "Yeah, come on, paisan." I mean, we're like,
But he understood what he was saying. Which
yeah,
is
it was
crazy.
so funny. We had a good time. So actually,
Was
George,
good.
you've been to my hometown. I've been to your hometown.
Yeah.
Honestly, center of the universe.
Nah, Nyata's better. But anyways, enough about us. We've been,
Yeah,
we've been
let's
talking
just
about
go-
us the whole time. We got to talk about our guests here. You guys are doing some cool things. From what we understand.
Yes, we are.
Yeah?
Yes, we are.
So I guess we'll start from, the beginning, because this is kind of, like we said, off camera, which is, like, my favorite thing, and I'm really excited to talk about this stuff. But I guess, is the beginning kind of boxing where the roots kind of start? Is it, like, the gym, or do we go back further before that?
I mean, depends. Where do you want to go?
Let's
with
go to the
everything? Do you
beginning
wanna
of
talk
United.
Beginning. Of
Yeah.
United?
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, how long?
And then we'll get
We got time. We got time.
And
Hey,
then we'll
listen.
get to the beginning of the whole COVID nonsense.
Yeah.
Give us the beginning of United.
Well, okay, I'll kind of cut it short. But I never thought of opening a club, to be honest. It was maybe, I mean, if you're in the boxing world, you're maybe thinking in the back of your head, one day after I've done all this stuff, I'm gonna open up a club and everything. I was actually coming back from Asia, had a couple fights over there. And
How'd you do?
Good, man. Everything, pretty.
Question.
Oh, you lost.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. No,
touchy subject.
clean record. It was only 3 fights over there, but I was ready to just go to the other level and really start like a professional career here in Toronto or in America. And when I came back, my coach didn't have a club anymore. We were always like renting studios in different locations around town. And it was like, once again, I came back and then no club. And I'm like, oh man, like, what are we going to do? I'm like, you know what? Now I'm taking this seriously. Let's try to find a spot, for yourself and for our fighters that we have and for me to train. And, for me, honestly, like I was like, you know what? You're going to coach. I'm just going to manage. And I'm going to, be a paramedic until like things pop off, right? Like that's kind of like, that's my schooling. That's my degree. That's what I was thinking of doing. Like for me, at the end of the day, everything I do is to help people out. So, you know, for me, paramedic is like healing people, helping people. That makes perfect sense. And then boxing is just something that I do for myself, right? So, come back, no club, find a space, and we find the space. Obviously, I put everything on my name, you know, find fucking credit card money, anything that I could find. Like literally after a year being in Thailand, I just spent all my money over there in the last couple of months and then came back with almost nothing. But then after I was like, fuck, okay, so just fucking put like literally I went my credit card. I was like, I told my cousin, I'm like, how the fuck do I get like fucking money for this shit? He's like, yo, the only way you could do it is if you go like, if you get one credit card, basically the credit card companies will find out that like you have credit. But if you go on the same day to every single credit card like as much credit card companies as you can, you'll get they won't notice
because they don't pull the record in time.
Bold strategy, Cottage. Bold strategy.
That's a hustler's mentality. High risk, high reward.
Yeah, so I literally went to like I remember I was like I planned everything. I planned meetings. You know, I even applied. Like I remember that day like no tomorrow. I went to one bank here, one bank there. And then at the end of the day, I went to Walmart. And the lady's like, would you like to apply for a credit card? I'm like, hell yeah. I was like, yeah. Put my name down. Walmart. Put my name down. Heck and then I was like, yo, let me hit up Loblaws.
Come on. Wait, did you actually go to Loblaws?
I went to Loblaws right after Walmart.
Come on.
I went to Loblaws right after Walmart and I got that President's Choice card. You know, they have a little stand there. Like, it popped off. I was like, I just thought of banks. I was like, no, it's not just the banks. It's also these little like
the grocery stores.
And all that. So anyways, got all the credit that I could, put my first and last down, and then got the club, and we got a little bit of operational money. And then after that, a week before I we're supposed to move in, I get the keys and everything. My coach gets locked up, and I was like, no. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna keep doing it. And
all right, hit up the next bank. We gotta hire someone else.
I'm like, you know what? Let me just like it honestly, it's like it's not even like he did something. There was no like real precedent for what like why they locked him up. It was mostly like an immigration thing and all this shit. They had no real leg to stand on. So I was like, okay, well, he can't really be there for very long. Next thing you know, it's almost a year that goes by, and everything changed, right? By that time, I wasn't training. Like, I couldn't train because I had to manage, I had to coach, I had to do literally everything at the club. There was like, so I had to literally, you know, and honestly, it felt amazing. It was a huge learning curve. When I came back from Thailand, I'm like, you know, I want to level up, not just in boxing, not like physically, but also like more on like a human level. You know what I mean? Like, okay, where are my comfort zones right now? And Thailand is paradise. I don't know if you guys ever been.
Yeah, we've both. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you guys know.
Yeah, we know.
How long you out there?
You guys have traveled all over.
You were there for a year?
Yeah, basically a year. I was just fighting there. Right?
So you've seen everything there.
I mean, I wouldn't say like I didn't go to the north, but like all the islands, all the little towns like that, mostly in the south. And I'm like I was super focused, and honestly, that's why for me it was paradise. It was like you're training 4 to 8 hours a day. You're getting money from fights. You're meeting cool people from all around the world, and Thai people are just fucking great.
And it's cheap to live out there.
It's
too,
cheap.
right,
the
man?
food's amazing. What do you want?
You're eating like lunch and dinner for like 50 cents a day.
So
massage is $7.
That's the
I was
best.
just gonna say,
My boy used to get massage for breakfast.
so listen to this.
Like,
A funny story. So I traveled.
That's the clip.
That's
That's
the
the clip. That's
When I went to Thailand, so I did 28 days there, 4 weeks, whatever. My last day, I was like, I had $100 in Thai money left, or $100 worth of Thai money left, and I'm like, hey, I'm probably not coming back here for a while. Let me spend this, right? So I'm like, hey, my taxi to the airport was like $30 worth of Thai money. I'm like, that's $70. So I'm like, I searched the best restaurant on like Khao San Road where I was staying. Okay, that's like $20 max. I've got $50 left. I was like, how many massages?
Don't tell me you did a ping pong show. Okay.
No, I didn't. I skipped that.
I've heard about the ping
Those are
pong
wrong.
show.
I literally did 6 hours straight of massages.
Oh shit.
Amazing.
Thai massage,
Good for you.
foot massage. I got terrible feet, so I had to tip her extra. Budgeted that. Then I was like full body massage. Then back to the legs and thighs or whatever. I did literally 6 hours straight. I took a break to eat and then back to massages.
Amazing. Good for you.
Sorry.
So excessive shit.
I don't blame you. And I mean, so like after being there, I was like, okay, I was basically living like how the best life that I could imagine. And I was like, you know what? How can I push my limits? How can I compete with guys that are on a higher level? How can I put myself where I don't feel comfortable? Talking to people was something that like I didn't feel comfortable doing. Being in cities with a lot, like all this stuff going, like, you know, I was young. I was like 22 at the time. So, you know, there's all this stuff that I wanted to push. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come back here and then try to develop myself and then develop like and help my community at the same time. So I thought I was gonna be a paramedic and fight at the same time and all this stuff. And next thing you know, like, you know, we
got all these credit cards.
Got all these credit cards. Fucking got in massive debt.
Walmart and Loblaws money.
Yeah. And
Bro, where'd you buy your groceries at this point?
Yeah, bro. Honestly, I mean, like at that point, I was.
Stores.
Huh?
Yeah. Where you buy? Like, literally, it's gotta be like convenience stores.
What? Like when I came back?
No, where you buying your groceries?
Oh,
what do you mean?
Were you buying at a lot? No, here. Because you had all these credit cards. It's like,
you still go to the place to buy the groceries.
I know, but like,
I mean, yo, you want the hustler's trick? Actually, I'll tell you. So what you do is that, you know, and I hooked up with a good accountant. What you do is you buy gift cards.
Yeah,
and you buy gift
it.
cards and you expense the gift cards, right? So I mean, like maybe a lot of people don't know that, but like if you have a business, you have to do it. A lot of people know it, but you have to actually do it because groceries, you wouldn't, you know, it's a huge expense, you know, at the end of the month, you know. So, anyways, next thing you know, open a club, basically like, you know, learn all this stuff as I go. My coach eventually comes back, but you know, it's already like it's to the point where like I now have to make that decision. I'm like 23, 24 when he comes back. And I'm like, okay, do I fight and do I let go of the club? There's already like 120 members. We have clients. We have all this stuff. There's people working. There's people employed. There's fighters as well. And like, at that time, especially when he came back, like the first 6 months, like we literally had like 8 provincial champions. It was like literally the height of our fighter. Like within a year, like it was insane. And then I was like, okay, I want to fight now. I want to fight again, you know. And then it was that pivotal moment where you're just like, okay, I understood that like if I keep going to fight, I'm not gonna be able to keep the club alive. So it's either I keep the club alive, and I just manage and I coach a little bit. Or I let everything down and then I just keep fighting and stuff like that. So, you know, it was tough to make that decision. It was like, you know, back and forth for like 6 months. I'm like, But like for me, I'm not a guy that like can do many. I'm not a multitasker. I'm not like, you know, like I have to do one thing and I do it very well, or I don't do it at all. And I said, you know what, let me just concentrate, because this felt like, it also felt so right. Like we had 8 provincial champions. We had like, it was just like the communities coming together. Like things were just like working. And I'm just like, yo, this is a blessing. Like what?
It's like a sign. Like it's
exactly
what I'm supposed to be doing.
Exactly. It felt right. And it wouldn't have felt right if I'd said, okay, you know what, like if it would have felt selfish. It would felt very selfish to be like, yo, let me just pursue my dream, right? Because at the end of the day, like there's all these people's like dreams and all this stuff. Like the amalgamation of all of that is way more important than just one, you know? So then I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to just manage and I'm going to just coach and I'm going to just do that stuff and I'm going to just do it to the fullest. And then that's it. And then we just kept on going. And then, you know, to what it is today. I mean, you know, before COVID, we had 700 members. We were processing 250 people a day at the club. There was about 12 trainers employed, about half of them full time. I mean, you know, it was pretty good. So yeah.
when you took all those credit cards, but did you have any idea at that point that we're gonna have this many members, this big of a gym, this many provincial champions? Like, were you kind of like you thought it could happen, or did you have no idea?
Yeah, I mean, no. At the beginning, no idea. No, at the beginning, I'm just like, I didn't even think about the future. I was so like worried about like covering rent the next month. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, how am I gonna make it work to pay the next month rent, bro? At the beginning, we were throwing parties like once or twice a month, like just packing the place up, bro. The United is like 3,500 square feet. We had like 200 people in there, just like sweating. We had a fucking bar, like we had bar downstairs, upstairs. Like we would do like
whatever you had to do,
whatever you gotta do.
So
Whatever you gotta do.
I told Georgie this meme the other day. I saw it's like, do you think a crackhead wakes up every morning thinking he's not going to do drugs? No, he's going to find a way to get his drugs every fucking morning. He doesn't have any money, but he's going to figure it. So are you going to let a crackhead outwork you?
Yeah.
You told me this. When did you tell me this?
The other day.
I like
That's
that.
a crazy meme.
Oh my
Yeah, it was like a thing.
I like that. I like that.
It's true though.
I like that.
Killing me today.
I like that.
Man,
I like that.
I mean,
know
I
that we all have
understand. I understand with the
Maybe-
metaphor and like the analogy there, but
I think maybe I told someone else that. I was
I
like,
think
"Damn,
you did tell me, but
I was gonna share it. I'm like,
That's
okay, I don't know if
powerful
I'm gonna
shit.
share that one.
That's
a little,
powerful shit right
but
there.
it's true. Like,
Yeah, I
fuck,
mean,
a
like,
crackhead wakes up every day. It's like there's no doubt in my
Grinds.
mind. Someone who's hooked on drugs is getting drugs, whether they got no money or they got unlimited money.
Yeah.
They're gonna get
They
their
don't give
drugs.
up.
So are you gonna get outworked by? I don't want to say.
I know, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, and I want to actually like crazy story, by the way. Like I did not expect that. I thought,
a
oh,
good
we got
one.
an idea to open a gym. We open a gym. Like I did not know the story, and that's why we love what we do because we sit down with interesting people and we just
Nice.
like listen to the story, no context, nothing.
Yeah.
A little bit of context, but that's crazy. But I think to Ricky's point, that's one of the things that like inspires us because like. We live in a day and age where it's everyone like, you know, it's that instant gratification. People see, you know, the good. You see like, you know, we got a podcast, you got a gym, you got this, and everyone thinks, oh, I can do that tomorrow. I can get someone to do
easy.
this for me and all that.
Yeah.
But the what people don't often see is like we use this term for our startup is like do things that don't scale, which means like do things that like if it keeps going, you'll either burn yourself out or you'll die of exhaustion. Like you just can't do it forever. So do all the stuff, do the nitty gritty, do the hard work, like be in the trenches from day one on because like, you know, if you're trying to, you know, get someone to do sales for you or get someone to do your account and like you can't do that.
No.
You have to be the one in the gutters doing the work.
Yeah.
And we handle fucking water bottles every weekend at the parks and shit to get down.
We're
with.
still cutting our own
but-
stickers because we couldn't afford to pay the extra $3 to have them pre-cut.
Yeah. But that's
It was
crazy. That,
literally
like,
it was $50
But that's
extra. I'm like, I'll cut them
part
myself.
of it.
Yeah.
That's part of being
That's the
an
grind,
entrepreneur is like it's like the beginning phases, like you said, it's you're in the trenches, you know. You have to do the work yourself so that later on down the road you can start teaching people how to do it the
Exactly.
way you want it to be done, you know? But you need to get that experience first.
And you've seen it all, right? Like you've been like back to the point you mentioned, Jordan, like you didn't expect it to go there. You weren't even worried about that. And that's the thing, right? So many people, I mean, don't get me wrong. At some point, every entrepreneur thinks about, oh, where can this go? Like, it dawns on everybody at some point. But most people see, oh, I can be an entrepreneur because I'm going to make a lot of money doing it. Nobody thinks of like, no, just like worry about right now. And most people don't have to go through that. Like, honestly, you know, fortunately, with our startup, we didn't have to go to that point where we're, you know, scrambling to make rent and all that stuff. Hope, knock on wood, not yet, but whatever. But like that fact that you were in that mode where it's like, I just got to survive.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. Like I didn't know that that's how it came about, and I mean you can speak more to it, but I think like it's got to be really to look back on, helps keeps fueling you going forward and keeps you in that mindset.
100%. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I always we as a collective of my friends that help me out. I mean, like we talk about it so much, like those moments where like we were at our lowest, but like like financially and all this stuff, but we had to dig so deep that it brought like it was just insane, man. It like all the memories that brought, all the collaborations that we got, they were like, yeah, they
And
they
you
were
guys got
moments that we'll
closer
always
too.
remember.
You and your friends got so much
Oh,
closer.
for sure,
probably
for sure.
because
I mean, you know what? Like the first I opened the door the first time I was supposed to open it with my coach and all this stuff, but whatever happened, I had to open the door by myself, and I was like, fuck, it's 3,500 square feet. And I don't even know where the fuck to start. I have to open in 1 month, right? I'm like, I'm just seeing an open space, and I'm like, shit. All right, fuck it.
Yeah, like 8
what am I
credit cards.
gonna
Like,
do?
you're good.
Yeah, it's like so. Then the next day, out of nowhere, my cousin calls me. He's like, "Yo, yeah, you said you're opening up a gym. When is that?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm here now." He's like, "Okay, I'm coming." He came the next day. My best friend's like, "Yo, like, I'm having some issues with work. I'm taking a couple months off. Let me come help you." Boom. Another friend says, "Oh, yo, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna take a leave at work. I'm gonna help you." Boom. And then my dad comes. I mean, you know, my dad's in Montreal. My dad, me and my dad's relationship is just like I go see him on, you know, I go see my Montreal family and just on the holidays and things like that. But like we've never worked on anything together. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Yo, let me help my son." And that was a massive, like, you know, like that solidified our relationship. And I'll never forget that he was there at that time. Like as much as he wasn't there, like, you know, for the larger part of my life, the fact that he was there and I understood him, because again, like we got closer and I understood who he was as a person. That time I understood why, because I understood who he was, I understood why he wasn't there before. You know what I mean? And that was just between that time. And then that like built, and then he got close to my friends and and then we got closer to each other. And now we're just like, before we came in as like friends, now we're like brothers.
I love
You know what I mean? So it's
Jeez,
like,
man.
yeah, it was.
You understand why he wasn't there, because he was there.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's-
I love that one.
Exactly. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Good for you, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's big,
Honest,
man.
that's like on a
story.
really good, really inspiring story, but like
But-
really, really cool that like to go from that to where you are now. Like,
Yeah, and then that's the thing, man. I think we all, like, you know, and I relate completely to what you said about, you know, the heroin or crack addict or whatever, because, you know, for me, you kind of have to dig in there like in a healthy way. And I mean, you know, I've been called by, you know, many of my girlfriends or exes, sorry,
I feel you,
work
buddy.
addict.
I feel you.
You know, and like it's like, oh, you're addicted to work. You take no time. You take. I mean, like, and I kind of like, you know, I kind of take that and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I am, and I know I am. I'm addicted to my work, and that's 100% the first thing I think of. You know, I roll out of bed and I look at my emails. It's the first thing I do. You know what I mean? Like, I look at my emails. I go on Instagram. I check out like if I have to post something or not, and then, you know, then I'll start my day, and then maybe I'll, you know, take my time, stretch out, do some push-ups, do my pull-ups, do my, you know, routine. But that, I'm still thinking about work, and that's still my work. Like, and I actually feel good when I do that. You know what I mean? So it's like, and if I, you know, so for me, like, you have to have that grind, and it's not like, I'm not, obviously you think about your long-term, and I always think about my long-term vision, but you take that and you let it go. You know what I mean? Like, you take, like I always tell the fighters too, it's like, you have your fundamentals, and you have your objective is to knock the guy out, but you can't just always think about knocking the guy out on the fight, because if you think about that, you're gonna forget about
defense.
you're gonna forget about everything else that actually matters, that's gonna take you to that knockout.
Yeah.
The knockout, when it happens, you're just gonna be there, and then bam, you're just gonna you know what I mean? Like that,
it's a means to an end. The knockout. You have to like. It's all about the setup. It's about the chess game that happens before that.
The chess game before. It's the positioning, and it's the fundamentals. It's the grind that you have to do to be able to get to that knockout. You have to grind with the guy for like a couple seconds, a couple minutes, and then bam, you get the good shot. Boom. Okay, good. You accomplished something, and that's a milestone, and that was your objective, right? So that's the thing. You have to grind. People always think about like the long term, and they're like, oh, no, all these ideas, like, but they can't put the work.
But no one does the work.
No one does
they
the work.
have ideas, but
does
no one
work.
does the work.
But it's just like the nitty gritty. You gotta not want, like, you gotta want the you know,
End result.
the end result.
Yeah.
But like, you gotta be like, you also have to love, you know, all that stuff that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, or not give a shit. Like the crackheads, right? They don't give a shit if they have to do this weird shit or do that. They don't care, because they know the end result. It doesn't matter. So for me, it's like, I might not like to answer emails, like, or do, like, you know, you don't really think about, oh, do I like her? It's not
you think about the end goal.
exactly. You don't think negative.
I gotta
positive.
pay rent.
It's like,
What
I
do
have
I
to
need
do
to
that.
do?
What do you mean? Like doesn't come into the equation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to throw jabs to be able to. What do you mean? Like, what do you?
No,
Like, you have to do that.
You have
know?
to do it.
And that goes back to things like what George said earlier, like, do things that don't scale. Like, man, George did this yesterday. We have days where we do like outreach for our app, where we literally will message 500 people, like,
Yeah.
individually, not like we're not paying a bot or like,
Yeah.
you know, like mass
That's what you
message.
gotta do,
No,
yeah.
each person individually.
Because I
gonna-
think I fucking
Hey, Jordan,
spammed
hey, bro.
a few thousand people yesterday, and like,
Yeah.
you gotta
That's what
do
you
it.
gotta
It's
do.
annoying as shit. I hate them. I sit there, paste,
That's
like,
what you
paste,
gotta
and they
do.
know it's a
Yeah.
copy paste.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
copy paste. I'm like, yeah, absolutely it is. Like, just go on the app, check it out. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Like, do I enjoy this? Am I like saying like, why do I have to? No, like, it's part of it. It's
part of
You
the
do it
comes
because
to
you
the
have to
thing.
do it. You do-
Exactly.
And Gary Vee talks about that a lot too, right? Like, you have to do the work. He tells everybody, DM 100 people a day and compliment them on something. If you wanna grow your
100%. That's
business.
what's up.
Yeah.
What's
To
it?
build-
The 3 cents,
Give him your 2 cents.
2 cents.
2.99 or something.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Give them your go to 100 people's profiles, and whether it's on their picture, their latest post, or in their DM, give them your 2 cents.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if just do it every single day, and you will see a growth in your business.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah,
So it's
100%.
the little tedious work that everybody doesn't want to do, that I think really like sets up your foundation, like he's talking about, and gets you to your end result. You know.
100%. You have to do the little stuff. I honestly, it might be a little bit off. I'm not gonna remember the quote, but I saw a video. Mike Tyson said this, and it kind of ties into boxing. And I can't remember if it was on his podcast or a guest on somebody's. And fuck, I'm gonna misremember this, but he basically talked about the fact that he became obsessed with the shit that he hated. So if like he hated doing
100%.
something when he was in the ring, in the gym, doing road work, whatever it was, it wasn't about I like or
I think
don't
it's
like
Arnold, to be honest.
No, I know Mike Tyson said it
Mike?
recently.
Okay.
I know for a fact he said something along these lines, and he's like, I was just obsessed with doing the stuff that was like mundane.
That you don't,
like it was like I had to do this. I didn't like it wasn't I like it or dislike it. I just knew I had to do it. So I fell in love with doing this stuff, and it became routine.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew I would beat guys, because I just knew that I'll flip a switch and I'll do the stuff that I hated. So if I hated it, I would love it more and I would go do it. And like that's the thing is like, you know, there's probably a lot of I know there's a lot of people out there that do this. You know, it's easy to see the people that, you know, kind of fake it till they make it, want to kind of inflate what they look like. But there's other people out there grinding day in and day out. But like that's the thing you see that you like. There's like it's so, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Like it's so cool to see when you find people that are willing to like really just like, I don't care what people think. I don't care what I have to do. I'm not below this or above this. You know, I'll go fucking pick up the mop and clean the floor if I have to. I'll do the things that I have to do to make this, to succeed in doing this. And like, yeah, I know where I want to be one day. I want to live a life where I don't have to do this stuff one day. But until that day comes, I'm going to keep working and do everything I have to. And the thing is, the people that, at least this is an assumption, that succeed are the ones that do that. And then when they get there, they're like, oh, I did all this. So now I'm here. I'm still not better than this. I'll still keep doing it. And like they're the people that, you know, treat the janitor the same as the CEO, and the people that come with a little more humility because they've seen it all. They didn't come into it. They didn't just inherit it. They didn't hire people to do it. That's really hard, I think, especially in this, again, this day and age where it's about like instant gratification, being a celebrity, being an influencer. It's really hard to put yourself like below that and say like, fuck it, I'll do whatever I have to do. That's my TED talk.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger said something similar. It's like when you get to the gym, the exercise you hate the most, make sure you do it and do extra reps of it, do extra sets of it, because that's the difference. Like, fuck. If someone who really loves wide grip chin-ups, yo, kudos to you. But wide grip chin-ups fucking suck. And they're one of the best exercises you can do for back.
Yeah. No,
The question I wanted to ask, and Jordan, that's a fucking great story. We haven't had a good story like that, like an intro story, since Tristan, Sidewalk Hustle.
Crazy.
Like, that was a crazy, like 30-minute story. But when did, I guess switching over to you, Brian. Brian, when did you come into this equation? Tell us your story now.
My story with myself or with UBC?
But give us both. Give us your story and then UBC as well.
Okay. My story is not as exciting, but I was born in Korea. A lot of people think that I was born here. I was born in Korea.
Cool.
I lived there till I was 9, and then we moved to Vancouver. Hated my life in Vancouver, obviously. I mean, I was 9 years old when I moved, right? Shit, Danny's like,
she's French. So
I was 9 years old, right? When I moved. So I had friends. I knew what was going on. I wasn't too young. So when I moved to Vancouver, no friends, couldn't speak a word of English, couldn't even say hello, right? So I got bullied a lot, whatever, all that fun stuff while I was there. And then
he says all the fun stuff.
You know, all that
fun stuff. Yeah.
No, they're screaming at me and yelling at me. All the older guys have no idea what they're saying. I'm just standing there. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, you know? And then eventually we moved to Oakville. So I live in Oakville. We moved there when I was 13. High school, went to York University, 2 years, hated my life, worst university in the entire world. Absolutely hated my life there. There's no social life. There's no culture. There's no community at York, you know, because it's all immigrant students, right? They go to school, they do their classes, and they leave, right? So the school's empty. So I was at York. I lived there for 2 years. Again, hated my life, and it kind of really put me in like a really, really, I guess, depressed, you know, place, a dark place in my life where I just didn't want to do anything. I had no motivation to do anything. I didn't work out. I stopped working out completely, gained a lot of weight. I had acne on my face. I was smoking weed every day. I was drinking every other day, hanging out with the wrong people. And I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Like nothing.
Sorry, so you said you were overweight?
No, not overweight, but I was big.
So I was just saying, man, I look at him like this guy's jacked.
Yeah, I remember.
Was a time
no,
where
you were a little chubby.
I can be chubby.
See, Danielle, this is where we gotta like post a picture of him like in the video, like chubby Brian.
Yeah, chubby.
Transformation. Chubby
picture.
Like wasted too. Like I'm like sitting there, Buddha belly, like drunk. I have those.
Basically me right now. I'm proud of it. I ain't gotta worry.
So yeah, pretty bad place. Probably the worst place I've ever been.
What year is this
personally.
roughly?
mentally and emotionally in my life, because I was also comparing myself to a lot of my other friends that were, you know, in fun universities, you know, taking the program that they wanted to take, you know, or already working under their parents' company or whatever, doing real estate. And I feel like I was only one who didn't know what the fuck he wanted to do, you know? So I was like, felt a little sad, depressed, whatever, self-conscious about that. And there was a guy who was a couple of years older than me on the varsity football team at York. He was my RA residence in the residence that I was at, and he was like an older brother or whatever. He was from Oakville too. He kind of saw that I was slipping a little bit. So he actually started taking me to the gym every day. So he used to wake me up from my dorm room every day and take me to the gym, give me a little bit of that C4 pre-workout, get me fired.
1MR, yeah.
1MR, baby.
The old one, yeah.
The original 1MR, baby. That shit was
Well, that made you
crack.
tingle.
Rick literally
You
talked
just
about this
like,
on one of the recent episodes, the Wondermar.
The original
That shit's
1MR,
crazy.
eh?
It got banned, right?
Yeah, fuck.
It got banned.
I literally thought, I'm not gonna tell the story, but that was 1MR. So, okay, Purple K is like the OG, like creatine, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Purple K, everyone took it at some point in their life. Like it's the starter creatine. 1MR was that one pre-workout where you take it and it's like, okay, I got the jitters. All right, 1 rep max. That's what we're doing today. 1 rep squat. Let's do. We're lunging 500 pounds, 20 reps across the gym. Let's go.
Can't even speak. Can't
Yeah.
even speak. I used to take like 3 scoops of 1MR.
Nah, you're
before
fucked.
workout.
Bro, you're
Oh,
fucked.
yeah,
That's
it's
Bro, you're fucked.
crazy.
Bro, you're fine.
Disgust-
You might as well just take like 6 pills of MDMA at that point.
Disgusting. But yeah, he took me to the gym, woke me up. He really like helped me get out of this, you know, hole that I was in. And then obviously you got like the pre-workout, you got the gym environment, you're training with some other football players and they're hyping you up. And I really started getting back into this fitness thing that I was in before York University. So from there, I told my Asian ass parents, hey, I'm dropping out. Almost got slapped in the face by my mom. I had to give him like a couple weeks to like really like get over it. But they all, you know, eventually they're like, okay, you got to do whatever you want to do, whatever you're happy about. So I did it. I dropped out, went back home, decided to become a personal trainer because I would go to the gym 3 times a day. So I go in the morning, work out, go during the day, work out with my boys, go at night to sauna, cardio, abs, a couple curls by the mirror, you know, all of that stuff. So
You heard sauna, he's like, yeah.
No, man. People
this guy knows what I'm talking about.
I was I hate to cut off your story, but I joined Lifetime
Nice.
up in Vaughan. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's
Rich.
it's like a
Rich
nice facility,
CEOs.
right? So I joined it because for me the gym is like my escape from reality. Like there's days where you go there just to like fucking walk and text while you're walking or check your emails and shit. But then there's other times where, you know what, I want the whole 9-yard experience. I want to go for 4 hours, 3 hours. Like I'm gonna do my cardio, then I'm gonna stretch, then I'm gonna do my weights, then I'm gonna spend an hour in the change room. I'm gonna sauna, I'm gonna steam room, I'm gonna whirlpool, I'm gonna cold pool, and I'm gonna shower, and I'm gonna like, you know, that's my evening. That's like on my agenda, 6 to 10. That's what I'm doing.
Dope.
The best.
That sounds
Some people
great.
don't understand it. Some people are like, that's fucking brutal. Why would you spend 4 hours at a
That's
gym?
fucking brutal.
Let's open up gyms. Let's open up gyms, yeah?
That's it.
100%. Listen, I will agree with that. Like, I can spend 4 hours. I think that's crazy. But I do agree. Open gym should be. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
Gym should
Yeah,
be
we're
fucking open.
that's
Yeah.
we're almost
Absolutely.
on Brian's
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Sorry to jump back.
Where
got
was I?
slapped?
Yeah, no. So, yeah, I'd be in the gym 3 times a day, and at the time I was training every day, you know, trying different things with nutrition on bodybuilding.com. Steve Cook, you know, following his programs. You guys probably know.
Even I did that, but
You know,
didn't work,
following his
obviously.
following his
Greg
programs.
Plitt?
Huh?
Greg Plitt? You
No,
remember him?
Is he a bald guy?
Greg Plitt died about like 3 years ago, but he was like one of like the OG like YouTube personal trainers.
No, I'm talking
Yeah.
about bodybuilding. What's the guy name with the K? With a K. He
Steve
had a
Cook's
mohawk.
legit, though. Jacked.
Yeah.
He had the 12-week program. He had a mohawk tattoo.
They all have a 12-week program.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shreds.
Sorry, go ahead.
Dude, you could do
But yeah, Steve Cook, like all these guys, like following their programs.
Chris Gethin.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
who that is.
Katie, sorry, go
Power building programs.
Yeah.
too, right? So I was just experimenting on myself, seeing what worked for me, what didn't, and eventually, like my body started really changing. And then I was working at Liquid Nutrition, which was like a healthy smoothie place, just full time, doing my thing, enjoying my life. And then one of the girls there, she was a personal trainer at Good Life, so she's like, "Hey, like, dude, you're not even working. First of all, like, you come to work." Whatever your shift is, and you're on the computer looking at bodybuilding.com the whole time. You're not even making the smoothies. I know you're in the gym 3 times a day. She's like, why don't you just become a trainer? Right? Why don't you just go in the gym, make money doing what you do, being in the environment with the people you love, you know? And so I thought about it for a bit. You know, I talked to a couple friends about it, my parents, and they're kind of like, at the moment, they're like personal trainer, probably not financially stable. Like, they had a lot of doubts. So, you know, but eventually I got to the point where I was like, you know what, like, I'll give it a shot. Went to the weekend personal training course, failed the exam by one question. And Lindsay, she called me. She's like, look, I met you. I like your personality. You obviously know what you're doing. You're fit. You're healthy. I can tell. But you failed the exam by one question. So I'm going to ask you the question again over the phone. And if you answer correctly, I'll let you pass. Oh, wow. So I passed the test, got my certification, and then I started working for Good Life Fitness corporate gym in Oakville. I was there for about 3 years learning all the basics, and then I left and decided to run my own business. I was like, it's time to, you know, separate from the corporate setting because, you know, they really lock you down. They really try to own you with everything that they do, right? So I left Good Life, decided to run my own business, and next thing you know, I'm with UBC with this guy right here. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of my story.
That's still pretty good. It's still a pretty great story. You've been a little bit humble before, but that's good for you. And when, then that point, because I know, so everyone knows the timeline wise. So when did you guys come together, start working together?
So I worked with one of his trainers, Irv, with boxing. I reached out to him. I'm going to say like February of this year.
Oh, so this is very recent.
This is recent.
Okay.
But I've been following UBC on social media and Instagram for a long time, and I think I actually tried to get a job a long time ago, but they're like, we're not hiring. A couple of years ago, I think.
That shade at you. Hey?
All right, whatever.
Come back in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. Give me a couple of years, you know. So I reached out to one of his trainers. I'm like, man, like I haven't boxed in a little bit. Like, can you hold pads for me? So I went and met him, and he was there. Started talking to this guy for a bit about, you know, what I do. He's seen my Instagram. He's like, yeah, I seen your Instagram, whatever. And then we shoot the shit. We chatted for a bit. He told me a little bit about the club, the history behind it, how it started, what they stand for, the culture, the community. And then eventually he's like, hey, like if you want to be a part of this club, then, you know, let's give it a shot. So recent thing. The relationship period's recent between myself and the club, probably like professionally starting March.
So then if you're studying in March, like of this, of 2021 or 2020?
2021.
Oh, so like really recently. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is very recent. Then I was trying to picture, like, timelines are kind of convoluted in my head because this fucking year's been wild.
Crazy. I mean, I write off like 2020 is a write off. I don't even count it really.
Yeah, it's not even a real year anymore.
It's honestly like it's crazy because like even thinking about like telling the story, I was like, oh, okay, it's got to be like before the pandemic.
3 months.
And then wow.
Oh shit. 3 months. Oh really? Eh? Damn.
Congrats.
Honestly, longer though. But
3 months anniversary, man.
Oh.
So obviously there's more to the story too. You guys have been doing some stuff since.
I mean, yeah, man. Like I think Bryan, when did you start boxing? Like just getting intrigued in boxing. When was that?
So I started boxing, I'm gonna say on and off 5 years ago. So me and my friends, we were partying for like Team LTD on a boat, and we were having a good time. We left the boat to go to our bus to go home, and I was walking, turned around, and this guy's mid-swing with a bottle of Grey Goose to my boy's head.
Oh shit!
For no reason, because the guy that swung the bottle, we actually partied with him. Everything was good. So he swung the bottle at my boy's head. My boy drops, he's bleeding everywhere.
Whoa.
I get in a fight, and then I break my hand. And then at the time, I was a big meathead, right? Like chest day, like every day, you know? Like didn't do no legs.
Heck yeah,
like,
my boy.
Day, let's go, you know what I mean? So I got a boxer's fracture, and then I was in a cast, and I couldn't work out, and that really pissed me off, that I couldn't bench, I guess. Fucking meathead, you know? So I had to do legs every day. That's why my legs got huge. And then after my hand healed, I'm like, oh, like I don't want that happening ever again, because I honestly, at that moment, like, I was different. In my brain, like I was obsessed with working out. Like that's all I could think about. I was rarely home. I was in the gym 24/7. Like I was completely like a crackhead addicted, right? So I was super upset that I couldn't work out. I broke my hand. So that's when I reached out to someone that an amateur boxer in Oakville. He was training out of prime time, Golden Glove winner, Silver Glove winner, a couple of years older than me, went to the same high school. I was like, dude, teach me how to fight, right? Teach me how to box. So I joined boxing for the wrong reasons to begin with. And then, you know, you start boxing and you start getting humbled by the sport.
Big time.
Right? You start doing some light sparring with your coach and you start getting beat up and you start doing sprints and you start doing pad work and you start getting humbled and you start learning to be patient. And that kind of changed my whole perspective of, you know, my initial beginning of learning the sport itself. And then it became something that I loved and that I looked forward to every day, and something that that changed, you know, my mindset a little bit and matured me a little bit, I guess. Right? Taught me discipline, taught me resilience, taught me patience, all of the above. So started boxing for fun on and off 5 years ago. Never had any desire to compete or anything like that. I just wanted to learn the sport, the science of it. Started teaching it to a lot of my PT clients about 2 years in, after I was learning it and gotten a little better. And then this year was the first year where I was like, I want to compete. You know, it's been 5 years learning the sport, you know, being part of the boxing community a little bit in the GTA, teaching it to my clients. I'm like, maybe it's time for me to get real experience, get competitive experience, and really be in the ring and really be in the trenches like you guys talked about, and really, you know, learn what hard work is all about. So, so that's one of the main reasons also why I joined UBC, because I wanted to find a good culture, a good team and coaches where I could train with that are going to make me better.
Us, really cool. I want to talk about that too, like what the plans you wanted to fight. But even to jump back to touch on that, like I said off camera that I'm a big fan of boxing, but actually, like, I picked up boxing. I've been a fan since I can remember. Like in high school, my first fight I think I watched was Mayweather De La Hoya back in the day, like way back in the day.
That was a long time ago.
So I love it as a fan, but I've always liked it as from like a physical activity perspective. Like I joke, I'm obviously a little bit chubbier one here, but I actually genuinely do like being active. But I don't like being in the gym lifting weights. Like boxing is my exercise, and are you guys familiar with Kingsway Boxing in Etobicoke?
Yeah.
So
With Jen.
Yeah, so Jen Huggins.
Okay,
So
nice.
my office, not our family business is in Etobicoke. Literally, like I can throw a rock and hit it.
Nice.
And long story short, my sister participated in Media Wars, which is like that charity fight. She fought in it when she was like 21. She's a year younger than me. So she fought. Jen was part of it, and then I was kind of training. I was training over at Extreme on Kipling, whatever. My sister goes, "Oh, Jen's involved. Really cool. Got her own gym. You should go check it out one day." So I go one day. I'm like, I want to keep boxing, but I wanted more like to not get to the point of fighting, but I wanted to be more active. At Extreme, they'd make me hit the bag. I was like, I want to do pads, whatever. Anyways, got into it. Got teamed up with Jen. I got teamed up with Virgil. Can you?
We also did Sully's before.
We did Sully's too.
Yeah.
Well, I was at Kingsway still, but I think with the Sully's afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, because I was moved downtown. But anyways, got into it. I really like the sport as a fan, and I was like, you know, I want to get into it. And I'm okay to admit it. I have a bit of press the number 9. A bit of a big mouth, a bit of an ego. And to your point about like being humbled, like that's the one thing that boxing taught me more than anything. But when I started, I was like, you know, I just want to do pads. It's cool. I like it. Never had intention of fighting. And started to realize how hard it was from a work perspective. Like doesn't matter how fit you are, how strong you are, how big and tough you are in the streets. Like when you're hitting pads and putting in work, like you got to shut up and work. And that taught me the discipline on that perspective. But then where I'm going with this about like the aspect of boxing from what it like taught me the most is one day I'm like, you know what? Like I want to fight once. I want to see what it's like. You know, it's easy to run your mouth and you know be a big shit talker. And Jen has a saying, "Don't talk about it, be about it," which is like stuck with me to this day. So one day I'm like, I'm gonna fight. I want to try and fight. And Virgil's like, "Are you sure? Like it's a big commitment. You know, it's not as easy as you think it is. Not like what you're watching on TV." So I put my name in the hat or in the ring, so to speak, to fight to end cancer.
Nice.
So in 2018. Yeah, 2018. I joined Virgil. Like, we're gonna pick you.
Yep.
We're gonna make you the main event. Like, you got to be like, are
shit.
you actually in this? I'm like, yeah, I'm in
Nice.
100%.
Nice.
And like I said, I had a bit of a big mouth then. Like,
We have
with
an
someone,
audience now.
Yeah. What's up, Bex? I guess what I'm trying to go back with your point is like once you step into that ring, and you put the headgear on and you get that first punch to the nose, you realize that like no one cares. Your opponent, the sport of boxing does not give a shit about how much you can talk, how much money you make, how big your muscles are. It's literally about, back to your point as well, is like just staying focused, being in the zone, and just moving step by step, being humble, and realizing that every reaction has an equal reaction. All these things. I guess what I'm getting with this point of the story is like it's the one sport that really taught me like skills that transfer across every discipline of my life. Not even just a human being. It taught me like from a physical activity. Like I thought it was gonna teach me how to be fit and fight people. It taught me that. It taught me how to be like just a better person and be humble and understand that like somebody across the street's bigger than you or smarter than you or better than you. Like don't think you're the king of the world. It also translated big time to business, which I never would have thought.
100%.
But honestly, there's one thing that I wish like more people did is like more people got involved in the sport of whatever it is, some kind of martial arts or fighting. Because a lot of people look at it as like it's brutal, right? It's like it's boxing, it's fighting, it's punching people in the face. But you don't realize, like you said earlier, the science of it. People don't realize like there's more cerebral aspect of fighting and all that, and the strategy aspect, the discipline, the humility, all that, more so than the fighting aspect. Because boxing, if anything, is more a chess game than it is an actual fight.
It's a lot bigger than that. Gets a lot more advanced, a lot more detail. And I think that's one of the main things that I fell in love with the sport itself was like how much detail there is in everything from like foot positioning to balance to stability to, you know what I mean? There's so many
100%.
little details that you need to take into account, and one small detail that's missing could end the fight for you.
Absolutely. And we're talking, obviously you probably have more perspective on this as someone you probably fought a little more competitive than I did, but
I mean, you're right on. I mean, that's exactly, you know, I'm not gonna add too much to that because, you know, I feel like you felt it, and for me, what I'm kind of seeing right now in the boxing industry is that a lot of people are like, boxing is at a point where there's a lot of media behind it. There's
the mic a little towards you.
Yeah,
there you go.
right there's good. Yeah. Boxing is at a point right now where it's highly mediatized. There's a lot of business. There's a lot of money involved, and there's not.
Oh, okay,
that's
you're
good.
You're good. Yeah.
There's not a lot of control about where it's going. I always describe it kind of like to relate it to people. I feel like boxing's right now where yoga was about 10 years ago. You know?
Good. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
10 years ago, yoga was just becoming a thing. There was a boom, and it actually became something actually
started
pretty good.
commercializing.
You know, it started commercializing, right?
Yeah.
But it did it in a very it did it pretty well. You know, when you think about a yoga class right now, you know, you're thinking about, you know, not just stretching and not just, you know what I mean? Like they did it well. It's still involved with your spirit and your mind and your involved all the stuff, community culture. They created something really good. Yeah. The pivotal point behind that was education.
Absolutely,
the yoga teacher training, YTT, 40 hours, 400 hours, 800 hours. That is what made yoga what it is today. And then brands came on to it, Lululemon, and all these brands came on you know, Nike, and all these brands added on. But the pivotal point was education, and that's what's lacking right now in boxing. It's education. It's people right now that are just pushing boxing for the money without giving it homage and paying respects to its heritage and to what the sport actually is. And for me, when I saw, like, honestly, when Bryan came in, I saw him once or twice maybe at the club. He came in straight and he was like, bro, are you looking for an instructor? It's very rare that someone asks me straight like that. And when I looked at his Instagram page and I looked at all this stuff, I'm like, this guy, he's at that fitness level, but he wants more. He knows that there's more out there. And now I feel like this is the pivotal point where there's so many people that are just like, yo, we want more, but there's not a lot of people offering that. You know, that's why. So I was like, yo, okay, for sure. I was like, I was like, yeah, for sure. Like the mentality for me, like I saw that right away. I'm like, okay, he's hungry. I could tell, because you wouldn't just come up to the owner and be like, yo, I want a job. You know what I mean? Like, or like, yo, you're hiring right now, you know? But when I saw that, I was like, you know, maybe you would be like, yo, you do it, you know, like you kind of have your ways, but like he was straight up, and I like that. And I feel like, you know, from what I saw from his Instagram, from his experience, he's a guy that's like trying to level up the same way you were saying, right? Like you're doing it for exercise and all this stuff, but you realize there's something potent in there and you're trying to get up there. And the problem is right now, there's not a lot of really people offering that. Yeah. There's not a lot of clubs offering that, and they're not, or if they're offering it, they're not offering it in the right way. What yoga teacher training does, and what even CrossFit community did with their, you know, with their training programs, things like that, is that they kind of standardized it, right? There's really no sanctioning body right now in boxing that's standardized.
That's the biggest,
you know, and it's the biggest thing. So, you know, right now it's kind of like it's the Wild West. it's the Wild West and everybody can call themselves a boxing coach, a boxing trainer, boxing that. But it, you know, so I'm like, I'm really hoping that in the next few years, we can come together as a boxing community, unite and standardize the sport so that it doesn't become all over the place. So that there's no more Logan Paul versus Mayweather. There's no more of these like crazy circus shows going on. I mean, like it's, and I don't mind them going on. You know what I mean? Like all the best to them. They're making money, all this stuff. But for now, what those things are doing, they're highlighting the gaps in the sport. They're highlighting like a guy like me can, because I have, let's say, 10 million followers, can say, hey, I want to go play in the NBA because I have 10 million. The NBA is going to look at me and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You got to go to the mind. You know what I mean? Like even Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan was in an NBA. He wanted to go to the MLB. He had to go to the fucking minor leagues. They didn't just say, oh, you're Michael Jordan, you're good. Okay, we'll get
you're going to sell jerseys, you're good.
He had to fucking earn a spot. You know what I mean? Like, but that's because the MLB, the NBA, all those things, like big sports organizations, they're standardized.
They have a sanctioning body behind it.
Sanctioning body behind all this stuff. Boxing's all about money. Boxing is greedy. Boxing is run by these, you know, the promoters and all this stuff. But now it's starting to switch.
Well, it's run by anybody and everybody. Like look at this fight that just happened.
Well, before I want to say one thing, just because one thing I want to touch your point, but there's one thing that's interesting that you bring up. But like, as a fan of boxing, I think it's great to see, like, as a fan, seeing that the pay-per-view buys making boxing bigger is great because UFC's taken over. Boxing is I think on the rebound. But there's one saying that's always stuck with me, and to your point of like not having these kind of fights. Logan Paul, sure, he held his own. But there's one saying that's always stuck with me, and it's the one thing that applies to boxing or fighting that doesn't apply to any other sport. You can play soccer. You can't play boxing. You can't 100%. Play fighting. Like, you can step on a field and play with Cristiano Ronaldo. You're not going to die.
You're not going to die.
You step in an MMA room with Conor McGregor or Tyson Fury, like, you could die. So there's no playing. You don't play a combat sport. So that's another thing, too, is that, and sorry, Rick, I cut you off there.
No, it's okay. But good point.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's always stuck with me, too, and like about the humility of like stepping in the ring. Like, you know, I think just to add to that, the momentum that boxing's gotten is crazy because UFC took over. Every kid wanted to go to the UFC and do mixed martial arts. I remember when I was boxing at Extreme, I was like the only guy in the ring. Everyone was rolling on the mats. Like, everybody wanted to do mixed martial arts. It was like the cool thing to do. The personalities in boxing and the up and coming young guys and this, like, the attention to the sport is blowing it up. I think right now is one of the best times in boxing it's had in a long time.
100%.
But the problem, which is weird to me, and you just touched on it, is like, it's crazy, number one, the education side of it. Like the education for young fighters or anybody that wants to get into the sport. There's no regulation around it. Like, you want to do like UFC, you go to like a gym that's sanctioned by like UFC, the band, or they have mixed martial arts trainers or jiu-jitsu, whatever. And on top of that, the sport of boxing in and of itself, you have like 7 different belts, WBC, WBO, IBC, like all these things, IBO. So like, it makes no sense to me. Like, that's the sport of boxing. It's still, the pay-per-view numbers it does is bigger than UFC. It's bigger than any sport. Like, Mayweather is the richest athlete in the history every year, and he fights once a year, and he makes more than any guy in history of sports. But like, they can't figure this out, and the amount of people that, like, going back to like even the education approach, I never thought about the analogy of like yoga to boxing, which I think is really cool. It's really interesting. Like, it has to start there. It has to start at the education level and teach people like going into the gym. Not it's not about fighting. Like, you go in to be a boxer to fight, to hurt someone, it's probably going to lose the fight. You got to go in with the expectation of like understand the strategy, understand the education, like you said, the balance, all that stuff.
The sport,
and it goes back down to that, to the grassroots level of like the education and like having the, you know, I guess twofold, having the trainers be like actual sanctioned trainers who know that they're teaching the same thing across disciplines, more or less. And they're educating kids on what it's not about going in to knock someone or hurt somebody.
100%, yeah, and like that's the most important part right there. Teaching the people, not just the technique, because I mean, everybody has the technical. They have, like, you know, Boxing Ontario here. There's like these technical, like, I mean, they're 2-day workshops and anybody can take them, but they'll teach you how to throw the jab and all this stuff. But it's deeper than that. And even in the UFC and in every fighting sport, the thing is that, like, for me, I see boxing as our kind of Western martial art, right? Like, it's our it's our way of fighting, right? Like, it's not kung fu, it's not karate, it's not like what they're doing in Russia. Like, this is, so it has to integrate our culture, and it has to integrate also with philosophy, with mentality, with all those things that martial art bring. right? Like when you take your kid to karate, you're not taking him to just learn karate. You're taking him to learn discipline.
Yeah.
You're taking him to learn life lessons. You know what I mean? And that's what you're taking him to do, not just to get active, right? Like, I mean, I think most people know that karate is not really a sport that you do to defend yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
It's not like a combat.
discipline. And
like it's a discipline, but it's all those things. And that's why I would put my kid in someone like, you know, if I didn't know, like I was like, yeah, like I need to put in something martial. But in boxing, it doesn't offer that.
Yeah.
So you have all these parents that are just like, no, you know,
I don't want my kid to
I don't
get
want my
punched in
kid
the
to get
face.
punched in a concussion, blah, blah, blah. It's
Yeah,
violent.
there's
it's
no
this,
like,
it's
there's
that.
nothing, like no
you know,
principle rooted in
that's
it.
the
Right?
thing.
Like,
Our society right now is not promoting boxing.
Yeah.
And it's promoting it in the wrong way. It's like, you know, for like there's certain area, like in Cuba, boxing is like their national sport. It's like you see a boxer, he's sitting beside you, he's 30, 40, 60 years old. He doesn't look like a boxer. They don't get hit. And they're smart people. You know what I mean? Because they've used that art to be able to help them, you know, in ways physically and also mentally. And that, I mean, for me, my coach was Cuban, and that's what, like, it was really, you know, impactful. And I saw the difference between the coaches, and I saw like those coaches that are just very technical and then only teach you about one side. They might only teach you tactics and or they might teach you technique but not tactics. They might teach you a bit of tactics, but they'll never talk about the philosophy or how to, you know, think about yourself and your opponent and all this stuff, right? The fight that happens before the actual fight, like how you have to prepare yourself, how you have to, you know, kind of like psych out your opponent, all this stuff, right? Like they don't teach you about that. So like, for me, I'm like, yo, I know all these things, and I'm just like, yo, I'm just eager to like start to push it out there, because I feel like right now there's also on the other side, there's a lot of people that, you know, just like yourself and just like Bryan, that want to get to that next level.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think we're there almost as a society that are like, yo, like we want more. I feel it at the club. Like I felt it for the last 2 years. It's like there's all these fitness studios in the city that are, you know, I love them because they kind of introduce people to boxing, but then they're like, I want the real thing.
Yeah,
I want to feel it. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, it's not everybody. It's not for everybody. But so honestly, I was saying that I think it is. I think it is actually for everybody.
boxing is for, honestly.
I think it's for everybody, but not everybody sometimes ready. But the thing is that, like, I've seen insane transformations happen. And I mean, like, we don't even post too much about like physical transformations, but because for me, like, those are cool, but it's the like mental and the complete switch of mentality that people can have with boxing is insane.
Absolutely
insane. You know what I mean? And for me, like, that's the biggest reward, because that will impact. Like, we have right now, we've been doing for the last couple of years these 3-month camps. So we call it the 90-day fight camp. So we're kind of known in the city. Some people, like, you know,
I've seen the ads.
You've seen that? Yeah, I've seen the ads.
Fuck,
Yeah,
I might
the
have
ads.
to join that one.
I almost
Are the ads working?
Yeah, the ads are crazy.
I have not seen that, but I actually might be down.
The ads are fucked. Like we just put them up for a week, and we have to take them down because we can't keep up with the amount of
Really?
participants.
No,
we
they're
can't.
great. They're
No,
great.
we
I see them
can't.
on Instagram all the
I
time.
want
We
to have
have-
seen it. I don't know.
I've seen it.
Oh,
I
yeah?
feel like I
I
haven't.
want to get like fighter ready, and I'm like, fuck, this is
Exactly.
my
Yeah, that's
time.
the
I'm
one.
ready
Want to get
for it.
ready? That's the one. That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, yeah.
It's,
I want to add. Oh, go ahead. No, sorry. I'm sorry.
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say I got a whole bunch. I got 3 points. I've been like trying to.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, I'll let you guys go.
Okay, you go, you go.
I mean, no. I
just wanted to add one
I'll
thing
just
after.
describe the program. Basically, it's a 90-day program. We take people that are complete beginners and we like transform them to fighters in the end of 3 months. So they like, their objective is to fight. So we don't take anybody that is not like,
Ready.
okay, I'm ready. Like, I want to fight. So we do little trials here and there. But most of the time, if you sign up, we'll motivate you as well too. You're not in this by yourself, you know? But basically, we take people, and you see these crazy. Sometimes we'll like, we'll take a chance. We're like, yeah, we'll take you. You see these people, like, they get hit on their first one, they cry. Like, not even just like a little tap. Cry completely. 3 months later, they're confident as fuck.
Fucking hit me.
Like, they win their
They get
fights.
hit and they're
They
smiling.
compete with people. Like, this specific woman that I'm talking about cried on her first sparring session, and not even getting hit hard, right? Just like, because she hit someone and because she got hit, she was like, it was like too much, like emotionally. She beat the provincial champion at the end of 3 months, right? Like, There's another guy who started from scratch at the end of 3 months. He became the provincial champion. He did the fight with us. 2 weeks later, he got 3 more fights at the provincials and he won. Like, that in 3 months. Like, these guys train, like, again, like almost like addicts. Like, we tell them, your life now is work, sleep, and box. That's it. I don't want to hear excuses.
Yeah,
if you tell me, if you're injured is the only reason that you cannot show up is if you're injured, and then we tell you to rest. And even then, we tell you to show up and watch. There's no, no. You tell your girlfriend, you tell your work, you tell your work. You have to tell your work because your work is a huge commitment. You have to tell them, listen, like I'm going to come in maybe a bit tired. I have a month coming up and all the stuff. And honestly, it's great PR also for the work. Sometimes like we have like, you know, at the end of the fight, there's like all the coworkers, they're there with the sign. Yeah, let's go, Nikki. And all the, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean.
They're all there cheering on. So it's good. But like, you know, it's a full commitment on every front. But 3 months, sometimes is all it takes to be able to compete and
it's
to be able to get there.
I'll let you go. I'm not gonna say anything, but boxing, it's crazy what you can transform in a very little time, and what it teaches you from like a human perspective more than fight. Like you learn to fight, but changes your mentality more than anything. 100%. At least that's what I found. But sorry, Rick, you can go ahead. I'm gonna.
I got so many points. Wow, Ricky's
been waiting for this right now.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, first point. George, actually, hang on for this. So my dad, we call him Big Frank, heavier set dude.
Yeah.
My dad did martial arts from like 4 to like 11.
Okay.
So like you can leave after this. So I'm just telling you this Big Frank. So he literally did martial arts from like 4 till 11. He was like not a black belt by any means, but like he's a bigger dude. When you tell him, and he still remembers it. Like can kick like to your head and whatever. It's pretty funny.
It's like my dad too. My dad did karate.
Did he?
I swear to God.
Yeah, my dad did karate. That was his
Just
thing.
a weird, smallest little guy.
Yeah, my dad's like the opposite. My dad's a heavy set guy, but it's just really funny. You can go now. It's okay.
That's what you wanted to tell me?
Yeah, you didn't know that Big Frank did karate? No, you definitely did it. Second part, I love the best part about this podcast, and I get to say this all the time, and I say this so many episodes, is watching people talk about what they love doing because they light up. Like watching you talk about the gym, watching you talk about like kind of like the highs and lows. People light up and you can see it in their eyes and their excitement levels when they talk about it. It's fucking so rewarding. And I don't know if the listeners care as much as I do, but maybe the energy doesn't transfer. Maybe it does. I don't know. But when I get to sit here and like, I hear you talk about this, you talk about that, I actually get so excited. I'm like, I want to be a personal trainer. I want to join the gym.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so ready because it's like listening to people talk about what they love doing or what they like, you know, the hardships and how they kind of prevailed is so amazing. Like both your guys' eyes lit up telling your stories. And it's just like, it's such a feel good moment. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, this is amazing. Like, I want to do this. Like you guys just talk. So
I'm going to take this clip. I'm going to rewind it in a month or two when we're open. I'm going to be like, yo, it's your time now. You said it. You committed. Let's go.
Like, there's times where it's like, I've done boxing. I'm all about the physical transformations, like mentality. Like I go through my highs and lows, and right now I'm on a vibe, so it's great. Physically, like I love boxing for the physical challenge that it provides. Like I've boxed and sparred with Georgie too. In the past, and we trained at Sully's. We trained at Kingsville.
Nice.
Kingsville?
Kingsway.
Kingsway. What did I say?
Kingsville's our sponsor. Kingsway. We trained there for a little bit, and it's awesome. Like you get fucking absolutely shredded boxing between the running, the cardio, the sparring, and everything. You get absolutely shredded, which I love. The last point I wanted to make, third point. I'm so on. I remembered these.
Hit it.
Third point is with boxing. So with majority of sports, there's like the major sanctioned bodies. You know, like hockey, there's the NHL, baseball, MLB, basketball, NBA, yada, yada, yada. With boxing, since it's such a singular event, it's not a group of events, or I guess it's a group of events in one night a lot of times. Yeah. There's not really like one sanctioned body that's like, okay, we're going to run them all and we're going to be the best of the best. It's like, okay, whenever Mayweather fights, it's the Mayweather Productions or whatever. You have the YouTube versus TikTok boxers. Triller. You got to think about that was... You got no disrespect for them. I'm sure they trained. I'm sure they crushed it. I didn't watch. I don't know anything about it. But none of them are real fighters. And no disrespect. None of them are listening, so it doesn't matter. But none of them are like real fighters where they train. This is what they do. Like they're YouTubers. They're TikTokers. That's how they make their money. And like, kudos to them. But they can throw on an event that's going to do X amount of pay-per-views or X amount of purchases, and they're going to make an absolute killing. So there's going to be a next one. You have the Logan Paul Mayweather. Well, there's going to be a Jake Paul McGregor maybe not McGregor, for example. But
That's
could
fighting
happen. It
Tyson,
could
Tyson
happen.
Woodley.
Tyson Woodley. So he's not a
Tyrone
Yeah,
Woodley.
he's not a McGregor, but fuck, the guy's a former UFC
I hope he
champ.
knocks his fucking head off.
Yeah, but let's say Jake Paul wins. Who's next? It's literally McGregor is next.
I don't think so.
I think it's gonna keep climbing.
Regardless,
I
like
mean,
this guy, and maybe he's a good fighter, maybe he's not. I don't know. I don't know anything about boxing. But the fact that a YouTuber, TikToker, social media influencer got to step in the ring with a former UFC champion, which was the English dude,
Ben.
Yeah, Askren.
Askren.
Yeah.
Now he's stepping in the dude with like a legit
UFC
sparring UFC fighter.
It's gonna continue because money talks in a
Because
day, but it's
exactly
gonna
it.
stop at some point because someone's gonna get very badly hurt. Like you had that fucking
Yeah, but if someone gets badly hurt,
hold on, there's that
That's a
Bryson.
TikTok versus
What's that Bryson
YouTuber?
guy? Like the fucking.
Bryson.
What are
I
the
mean,
two guys that
fucking-
fought? There's like a YouTube and a TikTok guy fought on the weekend.
Yeah. Ocho Cinco fucking got it too.
Bryce Hall and
That's
Austin
it.
McBroom.
Someone, so like you gotta understand, so those guys, they're not boxers, but it's two boxers not fighting each other. One of them, it doesn't take a lot to really hurt somebody in the sport. Like you catch someone in the right spot, and this is not to toot my own horn. Like when I sparred in my fight, I knocked the guy out that I fought. It was a fucking charity match with headgear, and I knocked the guy out. And I felt real, like I was like, that's fuck. This guy's like asleep right now. Like, well, this is crazy. You don't realize it's not about like this punch that knocks somebody out in boxing. Not the hardest punch. The punch you don't see coming. That's what knocks you out.
Yeah.
And like these guys, like okay, Jake Paul, he's training now. Logan Paul, they may fight a little bit more. They get a little bit better. They're still amateurs, but these guys now they're putting these Triller events on these YouTube events. Honestly, I hope it doesn't. I hope I'm wrong. It's going to keep going, and then at a certain point, someone's going to get very badly hurt, and they're going to realize they made a big mistake doing that. Because when I say badly hurt, like people have died in the sport of boxing and in UFC, and it's crazy to me that the people are willing to take these risks. Like, okay, I'm sure $5 million for Logan Paul is a lot of money, but is your life worth $5 million?
I don't think it's ever going to stop until there's like a real like one legit sanctioned body that runs everything.
No, that'll never happen though.
I don't. That's why. That's why I don't think it's ever going to stop.
I don't
because
think
again,
it'll stop.
there's
Because
going to
the
be
commissions and the commissions are run by the mafia
Yeah.
and
Oh, now we're getting
just
into
too much
it.
money involved.
No,
for
but
it to
honestly,
stop.
like, I think there's too much money.
They're all located in Vegas. What do
Yeah,
you think they're
but
run by?
there's
You know,
too much
like-
money behind it for these. I don't want to say kids, but these like young, aspiring entertainers, because that's what the Triller event was. It was an entertainment event. There's too much money behind it. Be like, if you're an entertainer, you're a YouTuber, you're a TikToker, you're an entertainer. Okay, well, get in a massive boxing match. That's an entertainment.
That's the new
boxing
thing
is
now.
entertainment. UFC is entertainment. Yeah, it's fighting, but it's entertainment. All sports is entertainment.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I hope you're right, because I do hope it stops. Because
Oh, no, I hope I'm wrong, 'cause I think
somebody
it'll
will
stop.
die.
I think
I
it'll
do
stop
think
if
somebody
someone
will
gets
die
hurt.
eventually. I do not think these social media influencers and these average Joes, or not average Joes because they're not, but like I don't think it'll ever stop. Like, look, Trudeau was in a boxing match 5-7 years ago.
Yeah.
Charity event, like,
and I
no
think
headgear,
it's-
right?
Exactly. I think again the most important part is education, so that people feel like the more we educate people about it, the less they'll take the risk to do that. Right? Like Ocho Cinco actually thought that he was gonna win this fight.
Nate Robinson thought he'd probably
Wait,
step
Ocho
into that
Cinco lost?
He lost.
Yeah,
bro.
he lost.
Yeah.
Ocho Cinco fought?
Yeah.
undercard. Yeah, he's on the
Who'd he
undercard.
fight?
I don't know who he fought, but he's on the undercard. He's the
He
first
lost?
He's for some bare knuckle boxer UFC guy. I don't know him, but like
Yeah.
he's.
Oh,
but
Ocho Cinco's my boy.
I know, bro. Me too. I'm like, yo, Ocho Cinco is the epitome of an athlete. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you look at the guy, he's the fastest
Nate-
guy
that was Nate
ever.
Robinson.
Nate Robinson got knocked
Robinson
out.
got
And
robbed.
then he actually thought that he was. You know what I mean? But it's like the more people are educated about boxing, the more they'll be like, oh yeah, I can't do that. It has to come from the community. It has to come
Yeah.
from below, not from on top. Not from on top. And the more people come from here and they're like, yo, nah, I'm an athlete, but that shit happened too many times. I'm not gonna be the one that's gonna, make the fucking the shit.
I'll tell you
And
right
that's
now.
that's what I wanted to add, because when I was stepping out, it's one thing I want to talk about. And actually, I heard you say Sully's after when I came back, Rick. One thing I wanted to say to both you guys that like I really, really commend is the approach you guys take. Like I didn't have a lot of context. Like I know who UBC is, I know who you guys are, but like didn't know a lot of your philosophy and your approach, right? You see combat gyms, you just think, okay, everyone's got a different take. And to your point, like I've been to a few in the city and you see different stances with each one. Some people just say, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to fight. Well, let's get in the ring and throw gloves on. Other ones, it's, there's more to this than that. And the one, I'm on your side of this and I support the approach you guys take and I really respect it, because I wish there was more gyms around the world that would take this approach, because I can probably make a fair guess that it's probably an even split. There's probably the ones that do it. So like, we're gonna teach you the proper ways to do it. There's other ones that are like, oh, okay, you want to fight? We'll teach you how to kill, like knock someone out in the ring.
It's
there's
usually
probably
extremes. It's usually
exactly.
Yep.
And one thing I'll give just a quick example. So when I was at Extreme, it was like, when I was there training, Extreme was a big boxing when I was there. I trained with, I won't say his name, but I trained with a guy who trained one of the Canadian champions back in the day. And I wasn't training to fight. I was training for fitness.
Who you're talking
about.
Yep.
So, great trainer, taught me the fundamentals that actually carried on to help me, probably win my fight.
Yep.
But it was more like I was fighting and he'd be like on his phone and whatever. It was more like I was just like a client, not really teaching me the fundamentals. As I hit the bag, I'm like, I want to learn at the pads. You're not ready. Okay, great, but how can I get ready? And it was more like I was more like a paycheck, whatever. And I didn't like that. So I left there and I went to go find another gym. So I stopped I think I went to Kingsway first. And I remember when I walked in there, I'll never forget this. I didn't like it at first. I walked in and I remember met New Gen, and Virgil was like, I'll train you. And he's like, but you're going to start from the beginning. Like, I was like, I want to do pads. He's like, that's great. I'll get you to pads. I'll get you to spar if you want. But you're going to start from the beginning. And I'm like, how long is that? He's like, when I think you're ready. When I don't think you're going to get in there and hurt yourself. And I was like, oh, this is boring. Like, at first, I didn't really realize it. Because, again, before I got in the fight, I had a bit of, well, not a bit. I had an ego. And I was like, oh, how hard can it be? Thank God they taught me the way I did, because I really understood, like, the fundamentals. And even then, I still probably wasn't fully ready.
Yeah.
But then when I took a break and went to Sully's, now again, I won't mention a trainer there, but Ricky and I went there because we live downtown. Oldest gym in Canada. I was like, oh, great. Like, we're going to learn from a good trainer. Yeah. First day we fucking walk in, he's like, put these gloves on. I want to see what you guys, what level you're at. Go spar. I'm like, I'm spar. I'm dude, I haven't signed a waiver, like nothing. He's like, no, you'll be fine. He put me and Ricky on a mat literally this big.
No. First we got in the ring. The second day was the mat.
Yeah, okay. So the first day was the ring, and we sparred. And like
3 rounds.
We haven't been taught the fundamentals.
Minute rounds, 3 rounds.
We're just slapping each other. Like, but like, it could hurt someone.
We're wailing away at each other.
Yeah. After that round was done, he made us do ab work, which is every boxer does. And he had a boxing glove on the end of a stick that was filled with stuffing. Yeah. And I'm holding a plank. And you know what he did? Yeah. Took the glove and whacked my ribs as hard as he could. And I landed on the floor. And I looked at him like, are you crazy? Yeah. And he's like, you want to be a fighter? I'm like, no, I want to get in shape. He's like, well, this is what we do in this gym. And he started like hitting hard. I'm like, dude, like I'm respectful. It's my first day here. Yeah. Second day, he puts me and Ricky on a 8x8
mat the size of this carpet. Literally.
And goes, whoever falls off first does 10 push-ups. Every time you fall off, it goes up by 10. Yeah. Luckily, I'm a better fighter than Rick, so I did no push-ups. Rick, I thought Rick was gonna. I felt bad. I was scared for him. His face was like his eyes bloodshot, face red. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna kill my best friend. You're like, what is wrong with you? Literally, that was the last day we were at the gym. We walked out.
No, and we did a couple more sessions because we prepaid for it.
But where I'm going with that is, again, like, oldest gym in Ontario, in Canada, I think, has its history, and like. We walk in, explain that we just want to get in shape and learn the fundamentals, and we're put in the ring to spar. That is fucking beyond stupid. Because what if I hit him in the wrong? What if he hit me in the wrong spot? One of us gets hurt.
They have a very like old school way of thinking, and it's hard to change these people sometimes.
100%.
You know, and like they're just so ingrained with that old school mentality of just go,
toughen you up, whatever, all that. Yeah. But that's why I really respect what you guys do. And I guess to wrap this up, like, going back to Kingsway, and that's why I've been there since. And I'm obviously gonna come check out the gym when we get back going. Oh, I fight Ricky over there too. But I respect that because I think more gyms should do that. And I got the most out of my experience doing what I did, because I didn't just like, the fighting is one part of it. It gave me confidence beyond belief, because I know that I'm not like, can't fight anybody, but I'm not like, I know how to defend myself. Yeah. But like, it took a long time to get. It took me probably 7 months, if not more, to get to the point where they let me go in the ring and start putting headgear and fight somebody. Yeah. And it taught me that there's grave consequences if you're not prepared to do this. You have to respect the sport, respect your opponent, respect yourself in that ring. And I guess what I'm getting at is I hope truthfully that with this attention to the sport, I hope there's more guys like you out there that bring the education aspect and say, okay, there's an opportunity here to make money. A lot of people want to do it, but let's do it the right way so we don't have somebody who gets hurt down the road. Yep. So that's, I guess, what I'm hoping for. And I hope there's more guys like that take the approach you guys did. And that's really important.
It's really finding that balance between, right now it's like there's these two extremes. There's these fitness centers that are or fitness boxing centers, that studios, whatever, boutique, whatever you want to call it, that just have these bags and they just tell them
the bobs,
do this, do that, bobs or water bags or whatever. Like the ones some of them they have like 30 different bags and you have to hit them 30 different ways, like, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's the person's first time there anyways, but like, so there's that whole extreme, right? And then there's the other side, which is like these old school boxing clubs that are gritty, that are dirty, and you're just really trying to find a diamond in the rough. Sometimes you're trying to find that one coach. Like I honestly I feel blessed because I did find that guy.
I love those gyms though. I love those gyms.
I like same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it smells sometimes like socks, but like then that becomes a familiar smell that actually motivates you. You know?
Yeah.
But like, and so there's very few. Now, like as the years go by, there's less and less of these coaches, and the coaches that are left sometimes are just like your experience that you have, like, and it's very hard to find those diamond in the rough, and you really take your chances of going in there and having a bad experiences. It's also for women, it might not be a very comfortable space and safe space, to be honest, at some gyms. So it's like, you know, on one side, it's those old school clubs to be able to stay relevant. They're going to have to adapt to the new paradigm of how things are done. You know, humble themselves, just like the sport humbled them at the beginning. They need to keep doing that, not just with the sport, but with themselves as humans. I feel like that's really important for old school coaches to understand. I mean, like, I'm not tell them, I'm just this is my impression, and for fitness studios and fitness trainers for boxing to understand that, you know, what they're doing, they to be able to continue what they're doing, they need to educate themselves a little bit more. They need to pay respect to what boxing really is, because if they don't seek that education, then they're just propagating a very superficial image of boxing that is not going to be like really conducive for the whole future of the sport. And honestly, like, that's really right now, like, you know, I keep bringing it up a few times, but like I do think about it a lot because I care about the sport so much, and I see all this stuff happen. Like yesterday I was with this kid, and like he's been boxing for a year, and he's like, yeah, I do these pads, and I do, like, you know, these long punch combinations with the pads and all this stuff, and like the man couldn't throw one jab. You know, it's like he can't throw one proper punch, and the most important punch. And even before punching, he has a little bit of body mechanics in here there because he's been moving pads, but like it's not even, he doesn't even have the rhythm yet of boxing, right? But he's been with a trainer for a year, right? It's like, so I'm like, man, like, you know, you have all these guys like in the clubs, like teaching them these long combinations, but it's like, you don't have
fundamentals.
to do that. You don't have to do that.
I was explaining. I was sorry. I'm not the coach. I was thinking about that the whole time. I wanted to ask you, what is the one thing you wish more people knew? And you kind of answered it, because I feel like the same thing is, it's crazy how trainers will go and tell you how to throw 3, 4, 5, 6, and no one knows how to throw a fucking 1 for their life.
Yeah.
The most important punch in all of boxing that sets up everything. I've been in many gyms, and every single one, there's one trainer that I listen to them like teaching a kid, and I hear like 7, 8, 7, 2, slip 2. And I'm like, dude, I've heard you say one
I don't
time.
even understand that. I mean, like, for me, I've been boxing for like so long. I don't even, like, I don't do combinations. Like, you tell me, but I'm like, duh. It, like, I mean, especially because Cuban boxing, they don't do numbers like that. But like, it's like, you don't need to know more than like 6 punch combinations. Like, unless you're going for speed. And that's the thing. Like, if they want to do fitness boxing, all means, like, I respect them. That, you know, they want to do it as a business and all this stuff. Like, do it. But you don't have to do it in a way that, like, it's like you're saying like, oh yeah, like premiums, like I'm selling premium steak, but you're doing fast food, you know. But like, don't advertise that like you're selling premium steak if it's fucking, you know, like like pink slime in McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do that. So if you want to do fitness boxing, all means do fitness boxing. You, to be able to get someone like at our club, basically how we do fitness boxing.
I love how you're going right now, though. But like, I do love this. That's back to what I was talking about before. I gotta wrap up soon.
Yeah, we gotta wrap up.
You're good.
But no, like, keep going. I love how fired up you are, right? Like, that's that energy in the eyes I'm talking about. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, this is the best part about our podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta start calling people out.
Yeah, I would call straight. But like, for example, at our club, like we will do sometimes combinations, but they'll never exceed like 6 punches. And to really feel like you're actually getting those results, like a lot of times it's just like non-stop hooks, bop, 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 for like 30 seconds. You want to get fit, you want to work on those love handles, you want to burn some calories, throw non-stop hooks on the bag for 30 seconds or a minute. Like, let me see how that feels, you know? You don't have to do hook, cross, lip, bop, 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 to do all this stuff. No. Non-stop hooks. When I tell you to switch, 1-2s, bam, go to 1-2s on the bag. Now, push-ups, boom, push-ups. Okay, like,
The neck veins are popping.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
Because my muscle memory goes up. But like, I see the sport of boxing, and again, is also about paying homage and paying respect to the actual art of it. Professional and doing it the ways that professionals do, but catering to the greater community. Not everybody is gonna go up there and fight, but let's all train like fighters do. So if we're gonna train cardio, let's train cardio like fighters train cardio, right? You're not going to get a boxer fighting cardio. He's not going to go 1, 2, hook, 2, bam, 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 bam. It's not like that. The guy's going to go nonstop uppercuts. Okay, give me a hook, bam. And then maybe going to do sprints and maybe going to do this and maybe going to do, you know what I mean? Like
he's gonna sit shadow box and skip for like 12 rounds and then maybe hit the bag for a couple rounds to throw a couple of heavy hands. That's it. And go to road work for 12 miles.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like honestly, we've been doing that and people love it. People love it. You know, like but the combination, it's like, even for me, like, sometimes you go there, you're like, fuck, I'm confused, I'm this. You get, you especially as a beginner, it's like almost the same thing as like going in there and you're sparring for the first time. It's like you're going in there and you have to like go to the beat of the music and then you're learning. It's like, whoa, what the hell?
The hardest thing, and I actually want to jump to this because I know we kind of got off topic about how you got ready to you joined the gym to train for a fight, and want to talk about what that's looking like in your path. But the last thing I want to add on that point is like, you're again farther ahead than I am or ever was. I'm 1-0 undefeated, so I'm proud of that. But when you get into the ring, your first fight, second, you're lucky to throw a 2-punch combo, never mind a 6-punch combo.
Yeah.
Like the punch that I got the guy down, like I think I maybe threw like a straight and a hook, and he was like, any punch you see is like 1, 2, maybe get a third one in. Yeah. But like, learning these uppercuts, do you know how fucking hard it is to land an uppercut to the kidneys in a fight? Like how to get in that range and all that stuff? It's crazy to me. And like, again, to your point, there's those boxing fitness classes like KO boxing, whatever. Great. That's your model. But if you're going to go into a boxing gym and people are going to be there to call yourself like a boxing trainer, if you want to do that, great, but you should be teaching the fundamentals of boxing. Yeah. And there's ways to teach people cardio and all that stuff.
And learn it for yourself. Like, learn it. Like, I'm not going to teach nobody how to do like yoga. Honestly, even weight training, like, I do weight training for myself. It works for me, but like, I'm not going to teach someone weight training. My specialty is boxing. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to weight train, you just do it at the same time I do. You copy me and all this stuff. I'm not going to correct you on this stuff because I haven't spent the amount of years to be able to call myself like a strength and conditioning coach. But boxing, I've been doing that my whole life. So that I feel confident. But then when you have guys that like come up and they have boxed like, a little, like a year, and then they're like, you can hold pads, and then they're calling themselves boxing trainers, and then they're teaching other people this like before even telling them, yo, what do you want to do? Do you want to fight? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Okay, then this is what I do, but I recommend this and this and this.
The mic.
There's all these. There's all these options, and this is what I do. But like, this is the level up. You know what I mean? Like, if for example, even for me, like if I have a guy that like I don't have time to train, I'm gonna be like, well, go and train with this guy, go and train with that guy. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how we help each other out 100%. as a community. I mean, and that's why I saw Bryan, because like, I'm like, yo, this guy, he wants to level up. He wants to take, like, there should be more guys like that are like, oh shit, like I want to now perfect my craft because I have clients that want to do boxing. So I need to get more proficient in it to be able to like hold my own and charge more as well too. And, because it works for business, and also like live it and breathe it so that, I actually like give back to what gave to me. Yeah. Right. So like, and that's the thing. You always want to, it's like a give and take. So yeah.
Absolutely. I want to jump over to Bryan. We've been sitting here patiently waiting. We kind of jacked the story and then took a left turn and ended up, I don't even know.
No, Joe was going off, bro.
No, I love it.
I was waiting for him to call people out.
He's going to call people out.
I was like, that Mike guy and that Kevin guy that trains at canoe laning. Fuck that
guy. I want to, so you said to go back. I know we've kind of gone a little bit over, and I know you got to get going. Yeah. So we'll kind of, couple things I want to touch on quickly. So understand, so you joined the gym to train for a fight.
Yeah, and to train clients.
And okay, so the training clients aspect is obviously going to continue. Are you planning to look for a fight? Are you training actively for a fight? Are you going to look for one, or is that kind of like now?
Yeah. So we have an amateur team. Yeah. Obviously because of the restrictions and stuff, it's been on and off, but everyone's doing their own training. I've been running a lot. you know, doing all the skipping, shadow boxing, weight training for the boxing fight to get stronger, working on my flexibility as well. But obviously, as soon as the restrictions open up a bit and we're able to train indoors or even outdoors right now, actually, I've been kind of busy the last week or so, but they've been running outdoor fight camps with the amateur team and doing sparring sessions slowly once a week, and then probably increase to 2-3 times a week as we get closer to the fight date. But I think they're thinking about running a tournament either here or BC in October.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna be in there.
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
breaking some teeth.
Yeah, for sure.
You nervous? You nervous at all? You
I mean, right now, no. Maybe when I get closer to, obviously, I think it's natural for you to be like nervous and excited and have all these emotions. But like, that's the thing, you gotta like embrace it, right? Like that's the fun part of it. But I don't think I'll be that nervous because I think I'm gonna be with the right team, the right coaches, the right team around me, and, you know, training myself and, you know, using my time properly. I think as soon as I'm prepared, I'm gonna have zero nerves when I step in.
Respect.
So I think I think you'll understand too. As soon as you're prepared, you're good. Right?
I don't want to psych you out. I was calm as shit right until I walked into the ring.
Oh yeah.
When I started to settle in, the first time you said about that girl that got hit and cried, like I didn't cry when I got hit, but I was like so like I didn't know how to parry or block a punch at all. So I would like the first couple times I'd like curl up in a ball, like trying to block the punch. When I got more fluid, like I felt really, I would spar. I would get hit, but I'd be like, oh, cool, you got me in the face. All right, let me set this up.
Yeah.
I was really calm. Sparring, even now, I haven't probably sparred in over a year. I feel like I'd be calm in the ring.
Yeah.
But my fight was a charity fight. But like I had like, there was probably 500 people there, and 50 of them, 50 if not more, were like my family and friends. I probably sold the most tables there.
Nice.
When I walked out, I was the main event. I started shitting. My hands were like this. I was like, "Holy, calm down!" I'm like, "Calm down. You know you can do this. Like you know you've shadowed whatever. You're good." But like when everyone's cheering, I was kind of nervous. When the bell rung, it was muscle memory. My hands were flying. I was like, "What?" I saw videos. They recorded it. I was slipping. I was like, "How did I do that?"
You're not even.
No, I didn't. I did not know.
You don't remember?
thinking.
Did you remember?
Nothing. Zero.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, most of the time you don't even remember.
I remember.
Your first fight.
I almost knocked him out in the first round. I hit him with like my knuckles. I popped my knuckle out in the fight.
Yeah.
Like I popped this, and it was the most painful thing. But I remember that. And then I remember. All I remember is I threw a right hook, which I've never threw that punch in fight.
Yeah.
My left hook's my stronger one. I hit him with a right, and I ducked it, and I looked back, and then that I remember that I saw him on the ground. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
The fight lasted.
Boys went nuts.
The fight lasted 2.5 minutes, and I don't remember any. I remember the first bell, and I remember the knockout. I saw him down. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at is like I shouldn't have been nervous, but like when I was walking out, I was like, wow, I've trained all for this. Once you get in, it's just like everything just takes over, and your arms,
Seconds in, and
everything
like
flows.
Get into a zone flow state.
Yeah. If you like it's 99% training. That's what it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Everything leading up to
100%.
it.
I would love to keep going. I really would, boys, because this is great, and we'll definitely do a
I
round two.
told you this is my alley. I could sit here for 3 hours talking about this.
I do need to go. I'm actually 15 minutes late, but it's okay. I love you guys. So I'm gonna start to wrap this up. Unfortunately, we have 2 questions we always ask every guest.
What time is it? One last. What time is it? Yeah,
No, we're at 7:45.
We didn't talk about the.
I was supposed to be on at 7:15. Anyways, I did want to talk about the kind of the COVID outdoor training stuff. We'll do a part 2. That's fine. It's
down.
easy. Yeah, you guys are awesome dudes, and
we went a lot longer than we anticipated here.
We can
I literally
chatting.
live
We can
like
keep
10-minute walk here, so
Bro, we could have
from here,
literally kept going on so many different things. We didn't get into anything. I wanted to talk so many other things we could have talked about. But anyways, that's the best part about this podcast. Is
honestly, we should do it. Like I want to hear the story about the COVID stuff you guys have been doing. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Set up a part. Honestly, set up part 2. Because like I said, we even talk about current boxing matches. Like we talk about fucking everything.
There's so many things we can talk about. That's why. But normally we try and keep it under 80 minutes, but we're at what, 90?
We're under like 75. Anyways, irrelevant. It was a great episode.
Yeah. Anyways, a lot of fun. We have 2 questions we always ask every guest. The first, if there was a movie about your life, who would you want to star as you? Could be anyone from any point in time.
Oh, damn.
Does he have to be Asian?
Can be anybody.
Anybody
Can be a guy, girl,
it's
anyone.
your movie.
That's a good
your
one.
movie.
So who's your favorite? I mean,
That's
who's
not
an actor?
who would you want to play you?
Fucking
Doesn't have to look like you. Someone you like. Anybody.
Denzel Washington.
That's a good one. Yo, Fight Club. Training Day.
Denzel or Russell Crowe?
Oh,
Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe. I feel Denzel. I'm just like, yo. If I want my legacy to be like badass as fuck, and people are like, yo, this guy was he really like that? Denzel's like the baddest man ever.
The GOAT.
But I think that Russell Crowe would embody maybe like the role a bit better, and he would understand it more. So I would say Russell Crowe.
Right.
Man, I'm not. Actors, actresses is not my strong suit. I'm just gonna say a name of someone that I love. The Rock.
Oh,
that's fucking sick.
shit.
You gotta put on like 50 pounds though, bro.
yeah, I got
Dwayne Johnson.
I
Yeah.
love
that.
Sick. Yo, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
Dwayne.
it.
The best.
Boys, I got a deep question at you when we ask every guest. I think we ask every guest. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I started that one, so you got to start this one.
One piece of advice to my younger self would be believe in yourself more.
Love it.
Believe in yourself more and trust the process. Just let life happen and you'll find it. Whatever, like I said, there was a time where I had no idea what I wanted to do, kind of put me in a bad position. And, I just let life do its thing. And eventually I found something that clicked and, I kept going with it. So trust the process.
Love that. Jordan hit us.
Jordan?
You say George?
Because
It's
you said it was
G-E-O-R.
spelled G-E-O. Right? I was thinking of like Jordan. Sorry. Couple
I mean, yo,
Cottage Springs.
it's tough. It's tough. I just keep thinking about stuff that like my grandparents would say to me, and my mom would say to me. So, what I say to me is probably around the same thing. Just, I'd probably be like, surround yourself with people that you vibe with, because that's the most important thing, is the people around you. And always think big. And if there's always bigger, and don't stop thinking big. I feel like that's huge. That's what I would tell myself. And don't be scared of thinking, like, not just think big, but you can, that for me, the first quote is actually my great grandmother. She would always tell me that. And the second one is my mom. And I think that's the most important thing that she's ever taught me, is that anything is possible. But like, and then every year it's like you understand that you're like, oh, whoa, anything at that level. Oh, whoa, anything. Like, you're just like, oh, really? It's anything. It's not just like, you're doing this little, it's like really actually any fucking thing is possible. You can fucking do anything. And then every time you just push your barriers. So really, like, I think that's really what I would, if I would go back in 10 years, I'd be like, no, not just like you can travel and do, no, it's like you can fucking become the, like,
King of the world.
King of the world. Like, you can do that. Like, it's not,
Love it.
So I think,
That's great.
And
Those are good questions, though.
I'll tell my younger self, there's a crackhead out there working harder than you.
And that's it, guys.
Be better.
That's a
Remember
good
that.
one. Ricky loves when somebody brings a joke back from earlier back to the
I
end.
love that. I'm gonna
That's a
take
good
it. I'm
one.
gonna think
Don't
about that all
let
night.
the
Guys.
crackhead outwork you.
Rick's drunk and he wants to go watch soccer, so we got to wrap this up.
No, General, I'm late. But before
Later
we wrap
lit.
up, if people want to find out more about you, what you're doing, where can they go? How can they find
Probably
you?
my Instagram. It's spelled BRYCHNG.
Nice. And
We're gonna promote him, not you. Okay?
check out United Boxing Club, and that's it. United Boxing
At
Club
United Boxing Club?
At United Boxing Club on Instagram, and then the website is unitedboxing.club.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
Love that.
Guys, if you made it to the end of this podcast, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Give the boys a follow. Give me and Georgie a follow. And other than that,
And go 90 days to boxing. Go hit it. United Boxing Club.
That's
get
it.
Let's
Cheers,
go.
guys.
Peace.
Thank you.
Peace.